Are you making one of these costly SOP mistakes in your small business? So in this video, I'm going to explain what they are and how you can avoid them. So if you're currently using SOPs and want to improve, or you've never used them before and you want to avoid these mistakes, this video is for you. The first costly mistake is making your SOPs impossible to follow. So they're written down, they're in one place, but when people sit down to use them, there are steps missing, they don't understand the structure, they're unaware of how they fit into the organization, when they should use them, and who should be using them. As a result, your team ends up having to ask other people about how to go and fill in the gaps. They may try and make things up themselves, but then they'll go and make mistakes, which then costs money to fix. So ultimately, if your SOPs aren't written well, they become more of a hindrance than a help. So what can you do about it? So I'd recommend having a template for all of your SOPs that has a structure where everyone can see all the information they need to enter. You can make sure that nothing's missed, and it makes it easier when people look at different SOPs to know where they are. I do this using Notion. So let me show you a quick example. And if you want to grab it, I'll drop a link down to the download in the description below. At the top here, we can see various details like assignees, and we've got owners, and I'll cover more on that in the second part of this video. But here in the main part of the SOP, you can see we've got various sections. So like the background, and this is just about putting into context what this SOP is and how it fits into the wider organization. So what's the purpose of the SOP? We can check out the scope and the context. So how does it fit into the org? We can understand who have got the key roles and responsibilities, so the owner, end users, etc. Here there are clear definitions and abbreviations so that nobody is lost with loads of three-letter acronyms, etc. And then underneath we have the meat of the process, which is literally the how-to guide. So step by step, what do you do for each section? Here you can also add in different types, so it could be a diagram or an image, it could be a checklist, or even a video using something like Loom or uploaded to YouTube. If people need to use specific tools or materials, you can add them in here. Any associated documentation, so maybe it could be a template, you can upload them using the file block. And then lastly, we've got trackers around the history, so when was it drafted and signed off, and also any revisions or changes to the SOP as well. So my first tip to help you avoid SOPs that are impossible to follow is to create some form of structured template, and then whether it's Google Docs or Notion or Asana or something else, make sure that all of your SOPs follow that template to make it a lot easier to follow and understand with members of your team. I really hope you're finding this video useful. If you are, please do consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. The second costly mistake I see small business suffer with is that SOPs have zero ownership. Now at the start it may be fine where you've written the SOP yourself, maybe you've collaborated with the team members and people have started to use it. But over time things may change, the process may need to be updated, there may be things in your business which impact on the SOP. If there's zero ownership, then this isn't reflected in the process. And so as people start to use it, they'll realize that it doesn't quite work, or it's a bit chaotic, and so people will lose trust in both that specific SOP but also all of your other ones. Eventually everything will fall back on you because people don't trust the documentation itself. And it doesn't matter how well written they are, like we set out in step 1, or how well organized they are, which I'll cover in step 3. If people don't trust them, and if they start to go out of date because they don't have an owner, it doesn't really matter. So how can we avoid this using Notion? Well, first up is that every SOP has an owner, and it's just one person. You can't put multiple people in here. So if I change it from Samantha to Laura, it changes to one or the other. So there's always somebody associated and owning this SOP, and that's ensuring that it's up to date, it's ensuring that people are following it, it's ensuring that people are trained on it when it's finished. So that's the first thing. Secondly is we also have an assignee. Now this can be somebody who perhaps it's been delegated to, so although Samantha owns it, she could go and delegate the writing to Laura, for example. And we also have the users. So within the organization, this just makes it very clear who actually can use this SOP based on their role or their position in the company. And it's all here in black and white in one place. So my second tip to avoid costly mistakes when using SOPs is to ensure that everyone has an owner who takes responsibility. I'd love to know what tool you're using for your SOPs, so let me know down in the comments below. The third and final costly mistake is having SOPs that are totally disorganized. So perhaps you've got some things that are written in Word documents, there may be other SOPs that are in Notion. There may be some more that are written in a Google Docs or a spreadsheet. Some may be in a specialist piece of software. And if you've got them all over the place and they're not tagged, you don't know when they were last updated, and it's a big mess, it doesn't matter if there's an owner, and it doesn't matter if they're well written. Other people won't be able to find them, they won't be able to use them, and ultimately they're useless. That's where storing everything in Notion, like in my Notion SOP directory, makes things so much easier. In the template, straight away, there are a couple of things that have been done to make it easier to organize them. Firstly, this is a database page, and I'll show you the full database in just a second. But here I've added a department, so we know which department this belongs to, so we can quickly search and filter. We've also here got an update frequency, so we know that this needs to be updated every 90 days, and a date pops up so that we can ensure that they're up to date. And we can also add a tag, again, to help with filtering and sorting. Now, checking back into the home page, we can see we've got different views of all of our SOPs, and they're all in one place, and they all follow the template that I covered in step 1. So we can see ones that are new, so just ideas. We can check out ones that are in draft, that is being written. We've also got SOPs here that are active, so people are using them, etc., etc. Here also we can track ones that need to be reviewed. We can track SOPs that are where the update is required. So here, having the SOPs in one database, you can go and filter and sort and organize and track really, really easily to make sure that you focus on growing your business, not doing loads of admin, chasing, and ultimately organization. So my final tip to avoid these costly mistakes is to store all your SOPs in one place and organize them in a tool like Notion so that you and your team can access them easily. Now you know what mistakes to avoid. It's time to take things to the next level with a complete Notion SOP system with dashboards, views that you can duplicate, an SOP pipeline, and so much more. That's what I'm going to deep dive into in this video. So to find out more, watch this video next.